Cheers everybody, welcome to a video which I should be making about 2 weeks time, but because I am going to Madeira for Christmas, I've decided to do this video now. I can't see anything of the selection of beers changing between now and Christmas. So welcome to JB's Beer of the Year 2023. So first of all, what's 2023 been like for Northern Southerner Beer Reviews? It's been a solid year. It's been a solid year. It hasn't been outstanding in terms of beer. I think the beers I've chosen are the ones which stood out a mile from everything I've had. And obviously this year I've diversified from doing just beer reviews all the time and doing walkabout videos, which I want to do in the future as well. I think it's a good thing to do, just to break it up and give you guys, people or boys and girls, different content throughout the year. And the thing is, I'm surprised. Well, I'm surprised myself that after all these years of doing this, I still enjoy doing it. I just do. I can't see myself ever stopping doing this. You know, when I first started this channel, all I wanted was really a cult following, and I think I've achieved a cult following. If you want, you know, the people who know me, and the people who know me are the ones who really matter, i.e., you lot out there. So let's get on with it, and I'll give you the highlights. Just get sorting her out. I'll give you the highlights of the year. So let's start off with the brewery of the year. Who do I think is the brewery of the year? Well, first half of the year, I thought it was a certain brewery, which was going to be my go-to brewery. And it didn't materialize that because the brewery has decided to knock it on the head recently. So it's not that brewery. I'm not going to name them. But my brewery of the year, the Northern Southerner Beer Reviews Award, goes to a brewery which we're all familiar with. But the reason why I'm picking them is because of their pricing. Their pricing is fantastic. You know, normal people can afford decent craft beer with their prices. And I'm talking about Vocation from Hebden Bridge. Visited Hebden Bridge this year. You must have already seen the video at some point. And out of all the breweries I've been to, the pricing and for what you get was fantastic. And, you know, in this day and age where, you know, things are tight and cost of living and all that, to have, you know, a craft brewery just still producing, you know, pretty decent beer for a competitive price, I've got to give it to Vocation Brewery. I really do. So I got that out of the way. So I'm going to show you some cans of beers which have really shone out for me this year. Was it back in June, July? My local bottle shop had a swathe of American releases in their shop, and you can really tell the difference between certain styles, American made, than what we get over here. And first of all, I like to start off with the sour. You know, our sours over here, hit and miss for me. They really are. Vault City, which I've included a lot on this channel this year. There's been a few novelty beers on the channel this year. Notably, that one over there has been a little bit hit and miss for me. You know, I either worked or I haven't, but it's great having different coloured beers. It's a little bit of a novelty, you know, effect on them. So when I first tried my first American sour, it blew me away. And this was the first one. This was from the Brewing Project, and this was a smoothie sour, Imperial Sour Ale, brewed with mandarin, blueberry, tangerine, and vanilla at 7% ABV. it blew me away because it's completely different to what we get as a sour over here. It was like a smoothie, literally what it's kind of like describes itself as, and it was fantastic. It even did feel like a beer in places, which for me is a winner. It's got to still feel and taste like a beer in certain elements, and that for me was my real first um, kind of like first first introduction to an American sour, and it was fantastic. Totally different to what we get over here. But then they got a few more American beers in. Another highlight was this one from a brewery which I've never heard of before. I think they're based in Idaho. With American beers, you tend to pay a lot of money for them, obviously because of the importing and from the distance they've travelled to you. But this one, really like that one. Suedo Sioux from Goliath. Uh, top was it? Bubba Toppling Goliath Brewery. Go on. Cheers for that. Another highlight. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Travelled well. Brilliant. But then I had beers from, my usual suspects, I call them. This was a highlight for me this year. This was kind of like a variation of one of their core range beers. It's going to full circle, and this was an oat cream looper. That was beautiful, and that was a 6.4% oat cream IPA. Another great beer of the year for me. I did do the mango looper as well. I don't think I've got the can now. That was fantastic. That was really juicy, and yeah, it's full circle. Great brewery. I highly recommend them. That was one of my beers of the year. It's just rung out to me. But then there was breweries which I discovered by accident. A certain brewery in Ireland, which I discovered just by walking into my bottle shop, and there it was. I'd never heard of them before, and I'm talking about Sullivan's. I did a few of them this year. They've all been fantastic. This was one what rung out to me. This was their Black Marble Stout, which was a 5.1% nitro stout, which was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Loved it so much that I did a video to compare it to my favourite Irish stout, the O'Hara's Nitro. Interesting video. I'll let you watch that. But it was fantastic. Another highlight on the channel for me. Really was. Then we had people sending me beer this year, which I really appreciate. All the beer, no idea. Thank you, Baz, for that. Robert Bramwell Backroom, he sent a couple of beers somewhere. I did review this year somewhere. And of course, Matthew Barker, thank you for your support as ever, mate. Sent me a couple of beers. This was the most interesting beer of the lot. It's the Tiger Black Strong. Completely blew me away. It wasn't black for starters, but it was great. It was great. Another highlight of the year for me. So the most unusual beer of the year for me was from Tartarus, and this was one which I couldn't really pinpoint whether or not I liked it or not. It's one of these beers which really I thought that's too weird, even for me. And it was a squid ink, seaweed, and yuzu imperial goes from Tartarus. This was at Umibozo. Completely left field. Didn't really know what to do with it. So we've had some great solid beers this year. Bear and Bottle. I went to in Coxo for the majority of them, and went to the Lost Robot as well in Sedgefield for a fair few of them. So now I think it's time to tell you what my beers of the year are, and there's two of them. There was one of them about 2 months ago, and I couldn't have seen that changing, but I bought this beer and I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, but it absolutely blew me. So there's two beers, JB's beers of the year, two of them. One's from America and one is very, very local to me. So the first beer of the year is a beer which is brewed by Hop Butcher for the World, which are based, I can't remember where they're based, Chicago in Illinois. And this beer, it cost a fortune, but it was unbelievable. This beer was a double IPA, 8%, but it's most way the greatest IPA, double IPA I've had in my life. And it really blew me away. And it is Hop Butcher for the World, of the world, or You're the World, for the World. And it is their Cosmic Glow. This was running in at 8% ABV. That is my first beer of the year. That was absolutely phenomenal. Mouthfeel, taste, the lot. It was alien. This came from a different planet. Unbelievably good. Unbelievably good. And there it was for a while, my beer of the year. But there was another one. And after having this one, it is compelled me to try their beer releases of this on a yearly basis. Might not be all three, but I think it will be definitely this one if it's available next year. We're off to Durham Brewery. And for me, this beer is one of the best barrel-aged beers I think I've ever had. It absolutely blew my mind, this beer. And it is from, it is Durham's Brewery, and it's the Islay Barrel Aged Imperious, clocking at 11%. That beer is absolutely phenomenal. I don't think I've had a barrel aged beer like that. It was everything. It was the balance between your stouty elements and the barrel. It was absolutely beautiful. So they're my beers of the year. That will never change. But I thought I'm going to pause it because I need to get the can. I'll show you my supermarket beer of the year. Just pause it. Right, my supermarket beer of the year. I can't remember what it was last year. Might have been a Lambic even last year. Took me by surprise. This beer ended up being available in two supermarkets, in Morrison's and Lidl. And the reason why I'm choosing this is because it involves two breweries, first of all, I respect a lot. And it really was an English take on a Czech style lager. So you most probably know what my supermarket beer of the year is. And it is from Thornbridge and Budvar, and it's their Czech mates. For me, it wasn't as good as the Budvar original, but it offered plenty. It did, and it gave it more of an English traditional kind of like twist on a Czech beer, if you want. So that's my beer of the year, supermarket wise. So there's my three of the year. And to be honest, that's not going to change. So I'm glad I've done this video, because it's not going to change, because I can't see myself going to Madeira and getting a beer which is going to blow my mind. I really can't. So as ever, thank you all for your support this year. It's been fantastic. Thank you for everybody who I've talked to on live streams, all the other beer reviewers. You know who you are. You are fantastic. You really are. Here's to another year of Northern Southerner. There will be of strutting around and drinking beer. And I want to wish everybody out there a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year before I forget. I may wish you that again when I'm out in Madeira. You must want to see, there might be even more some even more beer reviews after this, but I thought I'd just do this one now to get it out of the way, if you know what I mean. So as ever, look after yourselves, look after your families, and best wishes to them all. And have a healthy, safe new year. See you on my next one. Bib bib, everybody. Take care.